So, a little over 10 years ago, a mentor of mine and I were having a conversation about many things. And one of the topics he brought up was his strong opinion that I needed to start a podcast. The guy's name's Dan Miller, and you can still hear his show, although he's passed, sadly, far too soon, far too young. But he was a great mentor of mine and of many other business owners. And he encouraged me to start a podcast. Well, the reason that I bring that up is because I was very hesitant and I didn't believe him. And I thought I'd make 10, 20 episodes and prove him wrong and then turn the whole thing off. But it stuck and it resonated and it grew. And here we are, coming up on 7 million iTunes downloads alone, let alone the ripple effect on all the other media places where this show has been. And we decided early on not to make it a show about what I thought about things, but to make it a show about how successful e-commerce business building warriors like you are doing what they do. Dive deep into the painful parts, the good parts, what's working, what isn't working. That's what we do on the show. And we've got 1,000 episodes at this point, approximately. We're coming up on 1,000. So this episode is airing a little before we hit 1,000, but the timing with the conference and all of that made us think that maybe we should go ahead and drop it a little early because it is just such a great episode. I've already recorded the content that you're about to hear. I bring on some people who you hear me introduce to you in just a moment, but it's just a small segment, a slice of the incredible leadership team that pours their blood, sweat, and tears literally into this community every day. They've all made significant sacrifices. They're all paid far less than they're worth, but they all truly love and value that experience of seeing people's lives ignite through e-commerce. It's not just about making more money. It's about finding a new community. It's about the new relationships and connections. It's about having a stronger relationship with your spouse in your home because some of that financial pressure is relieved. These are the kind of things that we do. And there's dozens of great coaches on our team that I could have brought onto this show today. There's incredible students in our community who encourage and inspire us every day. But I picked a handful of people who are available from the leadership team and also very influential. This community would not exist the way it does without the people that you're about to meet. And I can't wait to introduce them to you and celebrate our 1,000th episode of the podcast with them and you. Thanks for coming along on this ride with us. These are some of my dearest friends, some of the people that do the heavy lifting behind the scenes that make this podcast. Well, it was recently voted the top podcast for Amazon sellers and e-commerce warriors in the world. So there's that. And the people that, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you can see on the screen, I'll introduce them here in a moment, have contributed significantly, again, along with dozens of others. But in no particular order, let me just go around the horn real quick and give you the briefest of introductions if you don't know who these people are. But I intend to spend some time with each of them today, just hearing from their hearts on what this community means to them, what they're excited about, where they see things going. And I think that's going to make a pretty exciting episode. And then we've got some people listening in. We made a last minute invitation to the Facebook group and said, hey, anyone want to listen in, ask some questions of the group today, make the show interesting. So we may do some of that as well if time allows. But first, Robin and Joy Olson have been contributing significantly to the content of this podcast over the past few years. Typically, their Coach's Corner on Wednesdays is one of the favorite episodes, and that doesn't hurt my feelings a bit because it's one of my favorite episodes every week too. They do such a great job. Most of our episodes are, as if you're a fan of the show, are interviews with the successful students who have come through our courses and our training. But on Wednesdays, the Olsons dive deep into very practical advice based on what they're learning from their exposure to the coaching team that they lead and the many students in our community that they've coached. So, dear friends, they carry a lot of weight around here and do a whole lot more than that, but that's their role on the podcast. And then we've got Khang. If you see him here, if you're watching, he's with us today as well, Khang Dang. He's the guy behind 3P Mercury. We call it The System around here, silentjim.com/The System. I got to get my little banner straight here. Yeah. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. One of the most compelling and encouraging, motivating stories that have emerged from this community. And he's on the team now as a leader and a software creator If you haven't heard podcast episode 754, I've been calling it my favorite for a while now. Khang's the guy behind that. Go check it out. Then we got my right-hand man for 23 years, Mr. Nathan Bailey. I'll come back to him in a minute because I want to beat him up a little bit. Let's go to Jimmy Smith first, okay? So Jimmy Smith is the guy that came up with the sequence of Replens. Now, Replens emerged from our community, what has it been, 6-7 years ago? And Jimmy Smith is the guy that said, hey, let's put this into sequential order of steps that others can follow and learn. And we integrated that into the Proven Amazon course. And for years, it's helped literally thousands of people launch and grow beautiful businesses on the expanding platform that is Amazon. And he does a whole lot more than just that around here. He's done several podcast episodes as well. He's a brilliant mind, a brilliant marketer, a great leader, and a huge contributor to this community. His YouTube channel, Ask Jimmy Smith, is phenomenal. And many people find our community because of that. All right, so I've got, I think Matt's going to be, maybe you join us here in a moment, Matt Thompson, and then my right-hand man, Nathan Bailey. Here's what makes Nate special, if nothing else, the fact that we've put up with each other for 23 years, which in e-commerce, that's unheard of. I was telling someone just last night who was talking about e-commerce and e-commerce business coaching, and they couldn't believe it, 23 years. But yeah, here we are. He's been right there making sure that we maintain the highest level of integrity and excellence and professionalism in what we all consider to be the best e-commerce coaching program in the world. And he's the man at the top of that, along with a whole bunch of other things. You see him at our events. He knows a little bit about just about everything and a whole lot about the important stuff. So he's a great right-hand man for us around here. I appreciate you and love you, Nate. And then Matt, I don't know if he's going to join us or not. He may be jumping on here in a minute, but Matt Thompson is the guy who manages our coaching office and our consultants. So if you call in and maybe you're a business that needs some help with your Amazon business, you need some consulting, some coaching. He's the guy running that organization for us and doing a tremendous job of it. He knows the industry very well. He can help you make a good decision about the future of your business. And he contributes in many, many ways around here as well. Everyone on the screen does. But I just wanted to do the briefest possible introductions I love everyone on this screen, and there's a whole lot more that probably could and should be here, but these people have contributed significantly to 1,000 episodes. So I think what I'd like to do, how about we do ladies first, since we've got Robin Joy here, and just, I want to hear from your heart. Again, what are you excited about? And where do you see things kind of going? And tell us about what this community means to you in no particular order. I think we'll have a good conversation today.
Well, Jim, I got to say, I am privileged to be here on this call and happy that you would even ask my opinion. But I have gotten so much from this community, not just in being able to ask questions and get them answered, that, you know, there's so many people to do that for me, but to make real relationships and real friends and real community feel. It's been awesome for me. And it's because of this community that I got involved at all. Mm-hmm. Brian went to his first Proven conference, and then he came back and told me how great the community was, how much he had learned from them. And I got excited too. So I have been able to do things that I've never been able to do in my life in this community, and helping people, understanding fundamentals and trying to get them across. That's just, I found a new thing that makes me get up in the morning and be happy. I just love working with people. So I appreciate the opportunity in this community.
Yeah, you're doing an excellent job of it, managing our Kickstart program as well. And you're maybe one of the leaders that's closest and touch point to those new people who come into our community. You're one of the first faces and voices that they're exposed to kind of figure out what we're all about around here. And you do a brilliant job of it. And you join me on a lot of Monday night calls too with the community, which is wide open each Monday. So I appreciate your help there. And I've contributed so much. Well, since we're going around the horn, I mean, on my screen at least, next would be Brian, Robin Joy's husband. Yeah. So what do you think, buddy?
Well, you know, just to echo some of Robin's sentiments, yeah, definitely feel so grateful to be a part of this community, first of all, and this team as an extension of that. I've said more than once, this community is the reason that we are still doing this business today. Mm-hmm. You know, we've tried, you know, I don't know, somewhere in the dozen area of different business models during our 30 years together. And this is the one that stuck. And I believe it's because of this community. And I'm just so thankful to be able to to be part of it, to contribute to it, right? It's one thing to get something, like we probably spent the bulk of our lives looking for places to get something, but to be able to give back in a community like this is just priceless. And with the way things are going, I was actually having a coaching session this morning, and I was talking with someone about what I'm excited about. And I've the king of not getting it. This is me, right? It took me so long to kind of figure out how to get things rolling. And when I did, I just grabbed onto it, and it was my comfort zone. And I stayed in that comfort zone for so long. And it wasn't until the last few months that I really started sort of poking my head out and going, okay, what else is going on around this, not just this community, but in the space? And to maybe echo what you say a lot, Jim, like, there's two best times to get into the e-commerce business, whatever, 20 years ago, whenever it started, and today. And today I feel just as excited, if not more, than I did 6 years ago when we first started doing this. And Rob and I were talking last night about how renewed, I just feel renewed about what's going on here. And if you focus on all the things that Amazon does that, sometimes they roll back, or they throw out there and then they never implement, or whatever, the fees, whatever, you could really focus on the negative aspect of this business and get bogged down in that. Or you could choose to focus on the opportunity. And the opportunity now is as big or better than it's ever been. And I couldn't be more excited about it because of that. Just with the new tools, the new ways to consider selling, the revolutionary things that are coming out of this community, I'm fired up.
Yes, it's a good time to be excited because we're in, just to drop a few numbers on people, if you're new around here, one of the reasons I'm excited, Brian, just to echo, and then we'll go around the horn, but the fact that we are in the fastest growing economic sector in the United States right now. E-commerce is the fastest growing, and it's still only 15 to 17% of retail, meaning there is a lot of bright future ahead. And who are the biggest players in the game? Amazon, Walmart. That's the stuff we teach. We open the door and we teach a very systematic approach to getting in, testing the waters, minimizing your risks, feeling it out. And then in front of you are all these wide open doors that lead to incredible opportunity. And this community is constantly discovering new strategies, new ideas. We have 100 leaders on our team, each with unique gifts and talents and strategies that they're deploying in their business that we teach around here. So we're not just about Amazon. So I agree, echo your sentiment, Brian. The future is very bright, never been brighter. But I want to limit my words today because we got a lot of really smart, good people on the screen with me today. So if I'm just working in a circle that I see on my screen, Nate, you're next, buddy. What's on your heart?
You mute it, Nate.
Hey, Nate, high tech, man. Unmute.
What?
There you go. My high tech right man, Nathan Bailey.
So for the first time in history, you're able to make me shut up. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
But no, I mean, I could go on and on forever, Jim, on the amount of stories. Up to this place that we're at now, we've changed the lives of not just 10,000, but tens of thousands of people from the very beginning when we were the very top of the tier of teaching eBay. And then eBay kind of, fell by the wayside. We led a mass exodus of eBay sellers into Amazon with the Proven Amazon course. I started selling on Amazon in 2007. By 2008, we had the very first iteration of the Proven Amazon course. And like before that, it was the Proven eBay course. I'm like, Jim, dude, what's going on with Amazon? We got to get this Proven Amazon course going now. And we did it. And the rest is history. It was the very first course available online in the history of the world on how to sell on Amazon. We did that, dude. That's like, it blows my mind. Yeah. A lot of other people, like, I tell them that and they're like, yeah, right, whatever, dude. But like, the reality is this, is we're not done pioneering this. We have pioneered strategies that we've taught people that nobody's taught. We're the first ones to the dance teaching that. And this is what I'm the most excited about. That's still happening. We're still pioneering this. And I'll teach somebody with coaching how to do stuff. They'll go out and become better at it than I am, and then come back and teach me stuff. And then it goes right back out to teach somebody else the next. And literally, I mean, we've got over 10,000 people that we have that have given us success stories. And I know there's a lot more people out there than that this has become their full-time income. I have a gal that she had a husband who was a truck driver. They never saw each other. They were very happy. We taught her one proven strategy. And she was able to make 300 grand a year, bring her husband home. Her husband no longer drives a truck. And you know what's funny is that same strategy, I won't talk about it here, but that was well over a decade ago. That was like 2010, 2011 that I showed that. And still to this day, she's still doing it and it works. That's the beauty of what we've got here, Jim. And what you've introduced me to so many years ago is this works. It's if you work, it works. And it's not easy. It'll be hard and it'll be hard, smart work. But if you're out there looking for ways to generate additional revenue, diversify, get into some multiple streams of income and use the internet to generate revenue, what we teach, it always works at whatever level you're at. The barrier of entry is very low. It doesn't take tens of thousands of dollars to get started. And, here's the coolest thing about it is the next chapter and what we're teaching, Amazon and then beyond. I spend a lot of my day serving other businesses that are like, hey, we're absolutely clueless about Amazon. You want to manage it for us and run it for us? And now I've built robust standard operating procedures, systems, AI, chatbot, chat GPT, integration with Google Sheets, management systems to manage these businesses that I'm taking them from zero to never sold anything on Amazon to hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, even monthly. And I'm getting paid through doing that and using what I've been able to accumulate in my brain from this to go out and help businesses. And I'm just telling you, the different streams of income that we have and that we could teach you. Replens is by far the best thing because it's the lowest barrier of entry. It's something that anybody can do. It works very well. Now that we have Khang and the software and even Jimmy as well, what Jimmy's taught and with the legends and the Replen dashboard software and everything else that we've got going on together, like what this is going to evolve into, Jim, I think is much bigger than you and I even realize it in terms of pioneering how using the internet creatively to generate income and revenue actually works. Just in the Proven Amazon course right now, how many strategies do you think there are that we could teach somebody that they could latch onto and generate real income with that we've proven out? Nothing that we put in that course, nothing that we teach is something that we don't actually do ourselves and prove out all the way, right? So on your end, Jim, like how many do you think of streams of income that
there's easily over 50 that we've identified that are strong, predictable models that we can train on. Yeah, we love to start everyone at basically the same starting point. Maybe a good time to, if people feel a little overwhelmed with what they've heard so far, a good free resource that they could go dive into that's kind of a roadmap into our community would be the Silent Sales Machine book that launched this podcast. You can get it completely free at silentjim.com/free11. That's version 11 of that book. And two promises we made, and you hit on this, Nate, in your comments. Two promises we made early on, 20 plus years ago, was we don't ever want to introduce systems that require a massive investment and you hope it works out someday. We want to allow people to wade in nice and slow at their own pace. And the other promise we made was we don't want you to have to be a tech genius. Go learn a new programming language, for example. We don't want you to have to do that. We want you to be able to just bring your determination, bring a few dollars, test the ideas, test small, fail a little bit maybe, and then ramp into the models we teach. And in all cases, those dozens of models that we teach have that in common because that's the commitment we made. And that book dives a little bit into those types of ideas a little more than we can with the time we have here. But yeah, great working with you, man. And I'm sure it came through. You're a fountain of information and experimentation. And you, like I said, you know a little bit about a lot of things and you know a lot about the right things. And you've been a huge asset to this entire community for now decades, which makes us feel old. But Khang, man,
it's allowed me. Just one last thing, Jim. It has allowed me to build multiple businesses that wrap around everything that we do. And I got to tell you, it's good and bad because I have more opportunity coming at me every day than I have energy in my body and time in the day to actually take advantage of it. All because of the community and the relationships. The relationships in this community, Jim, are like nothing anyone is ever going to experience coming to the Proven Amazon or the Proven Conference and experience that if you haven't, because it's put me, and it's because of these relationships with everybody on this panel, Jim. I would not have what I have right now, the ability to take care of my life, my family, and not have to worry about where that next, the mortgage payment's going to come from, or, how the bills are going to get paid. I don't worry about that anymore. So thank you, man. Thank you for putting me in the position that I'm in to not only have that, but to provide that. That's what I get up every day, just with massive gratitude. I have the same thing you have, Robin. It's just a blessing.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. It's all about serving. And who was it? Was it Zig that said, you help enough people get what they want, you'll never be lacking in the things that you want, right? Something like that. That's been our motto around here. That's our theme around here. So, hey, Khang, talk to me, brother. What's on your mind?
Well, I mean, it's a real, and I say this very humbly, but it's very much an honor to be here with you guys. I mean, you guys are people who I've looked up to for a while now. So to speak about the community, I started 4 years ago. So a lot of you guys who are listening to this podcast or this stream right now are probably new. And you're probably wondering, just like I did 4 years ago, is this community legit? Is this course legit? Or, is this coaching team legit? Those are very typical answers. And if you watch my very first podcast back in, I don't know, 4 years ago, look it up.
We'll stick it in the show notes.
Yeah, exact same questions. I said those things 4 years ago. Is this legit? I even Googled, and see if I can find any bad reviews, and I couldn't find any. And 4 years ago, I just, I started. In fact, Brian was my reactive coach, right? And if you listen through my story, you'll see that how I've progressed as a third party seller. I did really well. Did 50K in my first second month, and then I just went up and up, and now I'm at the point where I'm selling 3 million a year. So this system does work. Coaching does work. In fact, I love the coaching so much I hired them twice. Okay. So this community, it's an amazing community. It'll take you very far. And I never thought, 4 years ago when I started that I'd be sitting here talking to you guys right now, launching a software company to help serve the community. And on top of that, it's like to be able to build the relationships and actually, pick up the phone and call you guys like whenever I want. I talk to Jim almost like every other day or something. It's crazy. I never thought it would be like this. So this community is just, it's more than what I ever thought it would be. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, one of the warnings I give everyone who kind of comes on board and grabs the steering wheel with me for this community, which there's 100 of us that have our hand on the wheel, is, hey, welcome to the leadership journey. And I've loved watching you go from a very competent businessman to a guy who's now comfortable in asking for opportunities to get in front of the community and share your story, share your testimony even of what God's done in your life and the road that you've been on. And again, episode 754, if you haven't heard it yet, go listen to it. Khang really opens up his heart. And that's where we kind of started talking about this concept of this software that we've now very successfully launched to the community, hundreds of users loving it and giving us rave reviews. The System, silentjimdotcom/the system. We just uploaded some great new content there, actually, if you're listening to this when the episode comes out. But yeah, I appreciate you, Khang. Love you, brother. Love working with you. And yeah, I couldn't imagine doing this without you at this point. God just keeps sending us the right people at the right time, it seems like. So yeah, it's a pleasure to work with you, man. So, all right. So going around the horn, and then we'll see what's on everyone's minds. But we haven't heard from Matt or my good buddy Jimmy Smith yet. So Matt, how about we go with you and then wrap up opening comments with Jimmy?
Sure. Yeah. 1,000 episodes. Wow. When you think about it, statistically, you're probably maybe 1% of the people that we've actually had an impact and affected and changed their lives had the courage to jump on a podcast with you and share their story. Right. And I think, everything.
Most people are too chicken. You're right there.
It takes a lot of courage to get in front of the camera. I know that was definitely one of the biggest challenges for me when I kind of fell into this role, which I think it's crazy how God's hand is directing everything. And we have the right people come into place at the right times throughout this entire process. And it's just a testament to the culture. That's, I think, the strongest thing that we have going for us is, and you say it all the time, Jim, culture eats business strategy for breakfast every single day.
I think that's a Nate thing, actually. I say it now. I stole it from Nate.
Oh, well.
I stole it from somebody too. So
okay, we all the good ideas.
But it's just an honor and a privilege to be a part of it and to be able to serve. And even if I'm just the guy in the trenches holding up the sign, showing people which way to go, I mean, it's been an incredible journey. I think when I started, there was about 300 podcasts, if I remember right, somewhere in that neighborhood. So a lot of success stories. And now the really cool part for me is I don't even need to listen to the podcast. The majority of those stories, I'm part of it. I was a piece of it at some point in the journey. And so it's just incredible to be able to have that kind of an impact and change people's lives and show them there is a better way than just trading time for a paycheck. And if you're willing to work hard and be consistent, it's only a matter of time before it can be your reality.
Absolutely right. If those of you who just heard Matt talk, if you want to have a conversation with him or the other trusted consultants on our team, completely free, help you map out from where you are now to where you'd like to be in e-commerce, and talk about the free and inexpensive and even the higher end coaching options that we have. Get on our schedule at silentjim.com/book a call. I'm testing Jimmy Smith right now with his ability to put that little scroll on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, because I'm going to turn the microphone over to him here in just a second as well. But silentjim.com/book a call. There's a number you can text there. There's a phone number there as well to call us anytime, or you can get on our schedule and at a time that's convenient for you. But love you, Matt. Appreciate you. You're doing awesome work. In the trenches is right. If there was anything that defines in the trenches around here, it's you. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. Jimmy Smith, last but certainly not least, my friend, man, thank you for all that you've poured into this show and this community.
Yeah, thank you. It's always an honor to be able to be on the podcast and be able to help in any capacity that I can, and work with everyone here. It's been a blessing. Whenever I think about it, I've grown up in this community. I stumbled into it in 2015. I was 24, turning 34 this year. It's been a decade. I predate the podcast. I remember whenever it first came out. So it's been kind of crazy to see all of the different life changes that have happened. And whenever I started, I was just looking for something I could do on the side. And it was a blessing to be able to, I jumped into coaching actually right away. It was a blessing to be able to do that and start getting some success pretty quickly, for my experience of it. And then from there, just growing and scaling. It was, I'm somebody that wanted to just get out of my 9 to 5 and be done with having a corporate life where I had to drive 30, 45 minutes one way in traffic just to get to the office and cold call for the next 8 hours and then drive back home. And it's been a huge blessing to be able to grow a local business and then to grow one that's independent of location and to work on so many things. I mean, my best friends have come from this community, and if it wasn't for the community, my life would look completely different. And so I just love this community. I love being able to help and serve in any way that I can, and to see new strategies come out and to think about the different ways too that I can grow my business, that other people can grow their businesses once they learn that Replens strategy. I know Nathan talked about it a little bit, but there's just so much opportunity out there, whether it's going from Replens to wholesale or going into proven product partnering or doing Walmart or any of these other models. I've pretty much done and tried it all. I've even done the Amazon influencer thing. I still get paid a couple $100 a month from the Amazon influencer course that came out. So I just love this community. So many new strategies coming out all the time, and just a blessing to be able to serve and, be somebody that gets to help out as much as I can.
Yeah, you punch above your weight, buddy, and you've carried a lot of the creative energy for this community behind the scenes in ways that I think are underappreciated at times. And I'm just grateful for you, man. I truly am.
Thank
yes,
you.
sir. Yeah. So here's what I want to do next. We've kind of met everybody on the panel today. I want to give you guys just a second to think of a favorite story. Now, this isn't story time. You don't get 15 minutes, but I want you to just think of a person, a face, and you don't have to use their name or give away any details of the strategy that would create competition for them, for example, but just a story of what this podcast or this community has done for someone that you know. And I'd like to just kind of go around, and I think that would be a fun use of the time too. I didn't prepare you guys ahead of time, so coming up with a favorite story or just a really good story, you're kind of on the spot here. But I think I'll work around there. Who wants to go first on that? Who had something hop right in their head when they said it? Okay, Brian, I saw your hand first. Nate, you're too slow, buddy.
Ooh, only because it's current news or current topic, whatever. You had a guest on the podcast this week who just, I thought, told an awesome story about, this is the story we hear so many times, that, wanted to get involved in Amazon. I wanted to figure out how this works. So I went down the wholesale route. I bought all this inventory. I sent it in, and I didn't obviously know what I was doing. I'm paraphrasing because this would apply to, I don't know how many people out there, a lot of people, right? And then somehow stumbled across this community, started figuring out how Replens worked. He's been doing Replens for 7, 8, 9 months. All of a sudden, now he's got the skills to go back and address that wholesale situation that he started off with and be successful with it. He knows what to do now because of what he's learned through going through the coaching program and the Replens course and everything else that's included in the Proven Amazon course. And that is such a common story that we hear. We could put, whatever his name is to it. I know his name. I'm not going to drop it here, but that's something that we hear over and over again. I just love that people who maybe get lost and maybe taken advantage of in some cases, it's not their fault. They find a home here, and then boom, you see them take off, and they're like Khang. They go from, how does this thing work, to multiple millions of dollars a year in sales. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. We call ourselves the Burn Unit. I love that nickname that we've kind of adapted, because there's a lot of scammers, a lot of people maybe with good intentions that end up charging way too much money and delivering far too little value to their students. And they typically rise and fall quickly. I mean, Nate, between you and I, if we had to just brainstorm a list of names, we certainly wouldn't call anyone out. But the people that fit that description of, they popped up, they got a lot of attention, they got a lot of students, made a lot of money. And then a year or two later, you're like crickets when it comes to where's their list of success stories. So the premise of this podcast has been, hey, let's put our successful students who are willing to share, like you said, Nat, not everyone is. Very few people are actually, but we've got hundreds of them. That's what this podcast is. They're very real stories, like you just alluded to, Brian. So yeah, thank you. Great point. Who else has a story that popped in their head? Nate, you were next. Yeah.
Yeah, I can drop a name. His name is Richard Fryman. He's no longer with us. He's passed away. And this is the one thing that in this business, I'll try not to get emotional here. He was the toughest client I ever had. He was a curmudgeon. He was mean. 3 coaches said, I'm not coaching this guy, so I stepped in. He was amputated on both legs. He was a war veteran. He was one of the meanest people I've ever dealt with, but I just know how to deal with those people and kind of dig in and get inside. And I didn't know he had terminal cancer. And I taught him the test strip business. He blew that up. He had his whole family around him. So his kids and his wife were working the business with him. He was the client I made the first branded bundle with. It was tuna fish and mayonnaise. We were selling online, tuna fish and mayonnaise. And he called me on his deathbed with his whole family with maybe hours to live. And his whole family sat around. He said, Nathan, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for forcing me to realize that I was being a jerk. Thank you for being my coach. It's now because of you that I'm going to leave this earth. And it's because of you that my family's still going to be able to pay the bills and leave food on the table. And we're going to survive because of you. And I broke down. I haven't ever had that happen to me that way. It broke me down in a way that God tells you things and shows you things in life that you cannot look away from. I used to not be a believer, Jim, until I engaged in this community and had those types of experiences. And that touched my life forever. I still am in touch with the family. And that was, I believe, 15 years ago, Jim, 16 years ago that happened. And to me, I'll never be the same, that I was able to impact somebody's life that way. Like that they would call me, that I was important enough to them, a valuable enough relationship to them, that they would call me on their deathbed and thank me.
That's incredible.
Like it kind of freaked me out, because I've not been that emotional about this type of thing, and it realized that God has me right where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, the weight of the responsibility of educating, we've both always taken that seriously. But in moments like that, and there's other similar stories, I'm reminded of the dad that had, I think it was twin daughters, and this is several years ago, but
basically just went through an extremely difficult time and just vanished and called us back a few years later and said, "Hey, can I still be coached by you guys?" And we helped him get his life back together. And it was much more than business coaching. It was almost a counseling role that we played. And those two overlap. You can't have a beautiful business without involving the other areas of your life. So there's an intimacy there. And yeah, that story is just one of many. That's a dramatic story, obviously, but one of many where, one of the comments you and I made, Nate, and not too long ago, is I think what we've been doing for a couple decades is saving marriages. Because if you can take the financial stress off a family, that creates an atmosphere where relationships can be strengthened. Are you showing your wife? Was that Karen? She doesn't like to be on camera, man. You're in trouble now.
Hey guys, this is my wife, Karen. Do you remember that time, Karen, that we had a coaching student fly us to Malaysia to attend their wedding and be their guest of honor?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, literally flew us to the other side of the world because we had changed their life. And to me, that's another crazy story, but I digress.
Hey, pardon the short interruption, but I've got an important announcement. We'll get back to the show in just a moment. But have you circled this date on your calendar yet? If not, do it right now. The last 3 days of May 2025, join hundreds of listeners to this show in Orlando, Florida. We want you there. The website is 3 words long, theprovenconference.com, theprovenconference.com. We want you there. You're going to absolutely love it. It's the longest running Amazon seller conference in the world. Did you know that? It was also recently voted among all Amazon sellers who participated in a third-party voting. It wasn't us that sponsored this survey. It was a third-party, neutral third party. It was voted the #1 reseller conference in the world, right up there with Amazon's own event itself, which they spend millions and millions of dollars on their event. We have a smaller budget than that. But what we do have is the content and the connections and the relationships and the tools to blast your business into the future. Let's get together the last 3 days of May 2025 in Orlando, Florida, with hundreds of listeners to this show. Theprovenconference.com has details. Get your tickets now. The resort is phenomenal, a very family-friendly place, multiple swimming pools right next door to SeaWorld. Bring your family, come hang out, come a few days early, stay a few days late. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you in Orlando. Let's get back to the show.
And to me, that's another crazy story, but I digress.
No, beautiful way. We could go all day with this, but who else? Did anyone else wave at me? Yeah, Khang, what's on your mind, buddy?
It's one of those stories I like to share. It's just like, and you guys probably don't even know about it, but my very good friend, Kevin, that I work with, in my last company, I hired him in my last company, and I've known him now for over a decade. And it was funny how it turns out, and it all ties back to this community, is that his mother-in-law started listening to the podcast, and she got interested in selling on Amazon. And just so happened, I was hanging out with him for a little bit, and she saw me, and she was like, asked who my name was and everything. And she's like, I think I heard your podcast, like one of the earlier ones or something like that. And so I started telling her about Amazon and that kind of thing. I introduced her to the Proven Amazon course. I said, okay, watch these two, watch Jimmy Smith course. That's the one I watched. And, look at where I'm at now, right? So I introduced her to that. And then later on, Kevin and his wife started being interested. So he said, hey, you want to have lunch? So I had lunch with him and introduced him to the exact same thing. Watch Proven Amazon course, watch Jimmy Smith, the whole thing. That's kind of like I point to Jimmy's every time, like watch that Replens course. And he started selling. And then all of a sudden he said, oh, hey, I'm also, starting my own dev shop. So he's a programmer, by the way. So he said, I'm starting my own dev shop. Do you know of anybody that needs some work? And right at that moment, I didn't think about it, but I was literally about to give up on 3P Mercury because I had so much difficulty getting the right talent to build it. And it was already built, but built for me. And then Kevin says, oh, I'll help you. So he came in and he gutted the entire thing and just rebuilt it from scratch. That's how bad it was, right? And now he's basically part of, the software. So it's, just to think about like all the little moments that if God didn't put his finger to point in that direction, things would be so different at this point. So it just ties it all back. I used to, if you listen to 754, that episode, I used to be a person where I would be so confident in my ability to make things happen and to plan and everything. And now I just realize if God doesn't will it, it's not going to happen. So I just, looking back, it's always so clear. It's like I had nothing to do with it, but it's like this community is like, I just feel like, God has his hands in this community, and all the wonderful things that are happening, it all ties back. So, that's one of the things that
beautiful story.
really,
I call them divine appointments, Khang.
Yeah.
It's just like the right person at the right time, and it would otherwise be so completely random and anonymous that it would have happened that way. But then when you look back and it's so well orchestrated, divine appointments is the best word I can come up with. And people, many of us have talked about the community. I want to make sure we mentioned it a little bit, but the Proven Conference is coming up. I intend to release this episode. If I have to release it a little early before we actually hit 1,000 episodes, I will. So people have time to plan to come to our event the last 3 days of May 2025. We've got a workshop happening the 2 days prior to that as well. Open your laptop workshop with the Olsons, and maybe we'll have a second to hit that a little bit as part of our episode today. But assuming you listen to this episode when it comes out, you still have time to join us in Orlando, May 29, 30, 31st, or come a few days early for our little workshop, and we'll tell you more about that. But the details are at theprovenconference.com. And you want to get over there and get your tickets. Hundreds of people are already registered. And that's how you really experience this community. You can't experience it by just being in the Facebook group, although you'll get a feel for the vibe. It is a different, special place. It's a place of abundance and encouragement. We don't beat up newbies with silly questions. We encourage them and help them gently correct their questions to the right questions. But you can't quite experience it on a Facebook group or just listening to a podcast. You got to come to the event and be there with us. And if you can't afford to be there, reach out to us. We'll take care of it, especially if you've never attended before. We want you there that badly that we won't ask you to pay if you've never been before. Who else has a story, though? Does anyone else have something they want to share?
I got one, and maybe I'll throw a line out there and see if anybody here remembers. But this podcast, I don't know what number it was, but you'll know who it is, especially once we start sharing more. But it all started with a bet, and that might even be the title of the podcast. Ringing a bell for anybody?
Bet.
It all started with a bet. And so this individual is starting from that bet, has gone on to be super successful in the business, became a coach for us, is still operating the business, but fully automated. He's moved on and started a whole nother franchise. He's a huge crypto guru, and he's just crushing it. Started as a student, now is one of my great friends, and we had the opportunity to spend some time with him here just a month ago in Utah at the Sundance Film Festival. But I think I can drop his name and he won't be too upset about it. Abe McMahon.
Right. Yes, that's right.
And
what was the bet?
Abe is also who I think was Abe one of your coaches, Brian?
Abe was not one of my coaches.
You reached out to him for extra coaching, I think.
But we did develop a relationship while we were both coaches. Yeah.
That's how I originally got connected to Brian. Was Abe calls me up. Hey, I've got this student. He's showed me this thing with Keepa. I can't even explain. I just need to get you on the phone with him. He's got to show you.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of Brian and Robin and Keepa and coaching and everything amazing that we've done in this community with you guys. It all started from Abe, which started from that bet. It's just
what was the bet?
So he was and I think Abe, he was like an operations guy for Frito-Lay. Had a good paying job and happy where he was at. Just at lunch with a bunch of buddies, and the Amazon conversation came up, and it was a handful of them. I think there's a podcast where he actually goes through and tells the accurate story, but to just paraphrase it, they got to talking, and hey, let's see who can get started and start a business and actually sell on Amazon. Let's see if this thing's real.
Yes, that rings a bell now. I've done almost 1,000 episodes, so forgive me for forgetting the details, but I remember. I do remember that now. It was he and a buddy. It was like, and his buddy kind of dropped out and didn't do much with it, but Abe was off into a whole new universe of opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, just bet kind of unlocked his potential because to see what this guy has moved on and done, I mean, now he's got properties in multiple states. He's doing, real estate. And I mean, he's really building an empire for himself and building multiple streams of income. And that's what it's all about.
And he's been selfless every step of the way, which is a character trait of all the great leaders on our team, meaning, I'll talk to anyone anytime and fill them out and help them out. And he even a lot of struggling students. He's like, hey, just join on my team. Become one of my shoppers. I'll give you most of the revenue for any ASINs you find. And since you're gated, he's the giving, helpful, generous, abundance mindset of the leadership team around here. Abe kind of personifies that. Yeah, it's an honor to get to still. He still works with us. I mean, he still comes to our events, and I think he's coming to this one. I think he's presenting actually.
Yeah, I think he's planning on it. He's pretty busy with his new franchise, so he's not doing as much coaching these days. But it's just been awesome to watch his journey and be part of it, and just one of the greatest guys. Yeah. Definitely want him on your side of the field in any kind of a battle.
And big dude too, yeah.
No doubt. Yep.
Well, Jimmy, you had your hand up, man. What popped in your head?
Yeah, so there's really two. One is more of a category. I think just every day it happens so often in this community that sometimes it's easy for me to take it for granted. But whenever I stop and look at it, it's pretty amazing to think about how many people do come through no business knowledge, and then they end up growing, slowly and surely growing a business that they can scale, and then they become coaches. Like that happens all the time. So it's hard for me to pinpoint just one of those stories. And so the one that came to my mind the most was actually separate from business success, but somebody that came to the Proven Conference a few years ago, and they ended up reaching out to me after the fact that said, hey, I'm an atheist. I've always been an atheist. But the love and the supporting community that I saw at the Proven Conference has made me rethink that. And so we've gotten the opportunities from time to time to talk about that and talk about his faith journey a little bit. And for me, that's just amazing to see that somebody can show up and just experience the love of Christ at an event when it's, it is talked about, but it's not like we have sessions on it usually. It's something that it's just the atmosphere. And so for me, that one thing has stuck out the most, just how impactful it can be for people's faith walk. Whenever they get involved in the community, get surrounded by so many loving and caring people, it's just a beautiful thing to me. So that stands out the most as like an actual story, but all of the success stories that come through, they kind of run together for me to a certain extent, which, is also really cool.
Yeah, those events are an incredible opportunity for us to experience. And, I'm remembering a mentor of mine who's now passed away, not to make this a sad episode to try to outdo you, Nate, but a mentor of mine, Dan Miller, was the one, a good friend of Dave Ramsey. He actually helped me meet Dave Ramsey. So I got one of my books endorsed, and, that really gave us a boost to our whole marketing. What was that, about 2011 or so, really put us on the map. But Dan Miller was the guy who helped with that, a mentor of mine. But he also was the guy who said, Jim, you have to start a podcast. I'm going to literally bug you until you do. And the thing he said, this was his advice. This was his exact advice. He said, yes, it's a powerful marketing machine. Yes, you're already putting great content out there on your blog and maybe YouTube and all that. That's great. But a podcast, and there's people experiencing this show right now who are going to say, wow, yeah, that's true. It shuts off the world. People put on their headphones, they put in their earbuds. They're going about their life. They don't have a screen in front of them typically. We love our audio listeners, and they're truly engaged to the level where there's an intimacy developing that can't be replicated any other way except in person. So when you'll see these people, he said, this is what will happen if you start a podcast. You'll host your events, and you'll have people come up to you at a loss for words with tears in their eyes, feeling like they know you like a brother, but they've never actually met you. He said, that will start happening, and you can only do that with a podcast. And I said, I'll try it. I'll give it a shot, 2016. And here we are. And I know most of us, if not all of us on the screen now, have had multiple occasions where people have come up to us as a result of what this community does and speaking into their lives through this podcast in other ways where they feel like they know us now because they've seen so much of our life. We've been transparent with them. We've shared the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows, and we've helped them go from where they were to where they are now. And there's an appreciation and a gratitude there. It's one of the most rewarding parts of what we do, I would say. And this podcast has been a catalyst for that. So I love that you pointed that out, Jimmy. Just being able to speak into people's life at a level that impacts more than just their bank account, but their relationships, their marriage, their journey towards God. Like, these are big things. It's a big responsibility. We take it very seriously around here. But who else has another story or anything that you want to say on the tail end of that? Yeah, Robin Joy, you're up next.
I just want to mention the fact that this podcast itself, Silent Sales Machine Radio, has been influential in the way we've seen this community. This is what got us started. Brian listened to the podcast on the way back and forth to work when he had a long commute. I listened to the podcast when he was trying to introduce me to what this community was. And now we have the privilege of being a part of the podcast. But when I talk to people and they say, hey, I listened to so-and-so's story and they said something about this. Can we talk about that? When I'm working one-on-one with people, I'm always put back because there are so many new things that I didn't know you could do that. I mean, we learn together and it is so much fun and so enjoyable for me. The podcast itself is so valuable, absolutely free. Listen to it every day. And when you think you're having a rough day, there are so many stories of people who have had tragedies, unspeakable tragedies, that I don't know if I could get up the next day, and they have built a beautiful business. They've found solace here in this community and been able to move forward. If you think you're having a bad day, go back and listen to some podcasts. You have not had it harder than everybody else.
I love that theme. I call our show an excuse killer, because you don't have to listen to many episodes before to speak to what you're saying, Robert Joy, before you hear somebody who they have got less money, they've got more physical challenges, they had less education, they've got a rougher home situation, right? Recently divorced, whatever. And they've somehow picked themselves up and said, all right, with the support of this community, I'm going to move forward and build something. And from that humble foundation of pain that many of us will never face, they go on to build something incredible. So what you have to decide when you listen to this show is, what are you going to do with those stories? Because they're going to destroy your excuses. All you're left with now is, well, they're either making up that story, which allows you to stay in your excuse lane, or what's my excuse? I don't have one. I need to go build something. I need to do something bigger. I love that you brought up that theme, because I think this podcast has been that for a lot of people.
You know what else, Jim, is there are so many more. There's 10x that amount of stories in the community. These are just the people who are brave enough to come forward. Not brave enough,
exactly,
but who
it is a bravery thing.
Yeah. Like, we worked with so many coaching students who have had tragedies just like that too. They don't all go on the podcast, but there are people in all walks of life who are facing those things and overcoming them.
Well, that's why I start every show. Business building warrior.
Yeah.
Because we've all got that.
Yeah.
All of us on the screen have. But there's people in our community. I'm thinking of Renee. I mean, he lost an eye right as he was starting his business. And like, he tells his story. I would have been curled up in a corner for like, I can't play basketball anymore. My depth perception is gone. Right. The rest of my life can be impacted. I just lost it. Like, it's going to take me a while to recover from that. Not him. He got up the next day and he's packing boxes, launching his Amazon business, and he's doing great. Like, what's your excuse? Right? Like, I love those moments that just kind of challenge you. Yeah. Brilliant. You said, and this is a call out too. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm too shy, I don't want to be on the show, I've got a story, but no, if we have to do audio only, we will. But please don't let your shyness, your introvertedness keep you from serving this community in a way that pours into the lives of others. We would love to share your story. If you've built something as a result of this community, we'd love to hear your story. Reach out to me. Let's get you on the show. But I know you guys have something else you want to share. We're coming up on an hour on this episode. We can go a little over that, but I just love to hear what else is on your mind. You guys are all leaders. I'm sure someone's thinking something smart right now.
Kind of switch gears a little bit on your first question is what are we excited about? I mean, there's so much going on now with e-commerce. I mean, like, if you guys start paying attention to Walmart, they're growing quite a bit. They're not going to be like a small second option for very long. And there's a lot of activity going on that I'm pretty excited about with Walmart. And being a software developer, there are a lot of tools that we have, coming in the pipeline that is just I believe is going to completely change the game. A lot of automation, the AI, a lot of things coming. So it's really exciting. And you guys kind of think like, oh, Amazon's been there a while. Walmart's been, it's like the whole third party thing's been out there a while. It's just starting, man. So
game has only begun.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So Walmart is half of all e-commerce. Amazon is half of all e-commerce approximately. I think Walmart is like 5 or 8% or something, but they're growing far faster. Mm-hmm. And they're out. Jimmy, I think you just published an article about this. I think they almost, is it between retail and online, they outsold Amazon, something like that, correct?
So actually a little bit different. So Amazon for the first time ever just outsold Walmart in revenue in Q4 2024. Okay. However, Walmart in Q4 grew by 20% with their third-party sales. So that's huge. A 20% growth is amazing to see Walmart do that.
Right. So Walmart is growing way faster than Amazon is right now, creating a great second option for all of us in this community. And Khang, to your point, the tool that you got to market it every time, man. Hi, I'm Khang with 3P Mercury. Because your Walmart tool and what you and Kevin are building right now, it's cutting edge stuff. No one else is out as far into that territory as we are, where Walmart's just another place you sell your inventory. You got your Amazon business. Yeah. Tag Walmart onto the side. That stuff that comes back that gated brand that you have 50 units of. What am I going to do? I'll throw it on Walmart. Boom. Click a couple buttons. Off you go.
Yeah, Walmart is a great time to get in right now, folks. If you guys aren't in it, because it's kind of like how Amazon was in the early days, where kind of almost I would say everything is wide open. I'm selling brands that are hard gated from Amazon on Walmart and making great profit on it too. So it's a great time to get in. Like all of you guys who said, "Oh, I wish I got in Amazon back when it was, young or whatever."
Wild West.
Walmart now. Get in now.
ProvenAmazonCourse.com/Walmart is our Walmart training, by the way, if anyone's interested in checking that out. Well, what else is on your mind, my team, my fellow warriors?
Man, just to reinforce what we're talking about here, I think that's the exciting part, is seeing all of our predictions coming to fruition. Right now, we're seeing Amazon e-commerce as a whole is starting to overtake retail and in-store sales. And we're seeing Walmart's growth is all on their online side. And so if there ever was an indicator that if you're not in the game, now is the time. Here's all of your signs. There's just a million reasons why this is the best place to be right now. It's the bullet's out of the gun. Nobody's going back. They've recognized the speed and the ease and the convenience. So for all of us who are here and who are positioned properly, or who are willing to do the work to get there and get themselves positioned properly, we all stand to gain a great deal.
Yeah. And the most powerful statistic that backs up what you're saying right there, Matt, I encourage people, go Google it, because sometimes people don't believe me. Like, oh, that can't be right, Jim. What percentage of retail is online versus traditional brick and mortar, get in your car, go to the store? What's that pie chart look like? E-commerce versus traditional retail. Most people, I've heard people guess as high as 70 or 80% is online. No, we're not. We're at 15 to 17% online, meaning, to your point, the future has never been brighter. Like arguably the best time to start is now. Nate, you and I started over 20 years ago, and there was, I would wake up to log into eBay and eBay didn't exist. like literally the website didn't exist, or my account had vanished.
We've been around longer than Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. People talk about, well, Amazon changed some policies. I'm like, try waking up and the site doesn't exist and your account doesn't exist. Like we were the pioneers, man. We were taking arrows on the wild frontier early on. It puts to shame the stuff that we face now. Like, my stats are frozen for 8 minutes. I want to be able to refresh and it won't refresh. It's like, yeah, come on. You try waking up for 2 days and your account doesn't exist. Then get back to me. No customer support line even available. No email, no phone, right? That was the early days, taking payment in the mailbox for stuff we sold on eBay. Yeah, we were the true pioneers. But the future right now, the tools, to your point, Khang, the resources we have, paying attention to the cutting edge. And I would put our predictions against anyone's. We saw the Amazon thing coming. We're well out ahead on the Walmart thing. Yeah, that's going to be a big player. We're not getting away from Amazon by any means. There's millions of products right now that are understocked in Amazon's hundreds of warehouses that you could go easily source at Walmart and make money selling. So we're not going anywhere with Amazon. We're not moving away from them. But Walmart, yeah, there's some exciting things happening there, and they're gaining steam too. So the opportunity, buffet is wide open right now.
I think it's much easier to come into this market today and achieve success early, often, and scale to big numbers because of so many of the tools like 3P Mercury and Replens Dashboard and some of the other tools that are being developed out there. Whereas like I say back in the old days when we were first starting, you guys are older in this business than we are. So you probably you've seen certainly more progression and development in that space. But still, just from when I started this in this business about 6 years ago to today, it's evolved so much. And today you can come in and just, get a primer on the fundamentals. If you understand the fundamentals, then you can really turn the power of these tools loose. I know one of Jimmy's favorite words is leverage. I love leveraging these tools to help you grow a business. And it's kind of a little bit scary to me because if someone doesn't really know what they're doing, it's like getting out of a go-kart and into an Indy car and then promptly crashing right into the wall, right? Because there's so much power there. But if you really focus on the fundamentals in the beginning, then you can leverage these tools to build amazing things.
Well said. I should have you guys on the podcast more often. Once a week's not enough. We've kicked around going to a daily show. I'd be curious if anybody likes that idea. There's some qualified leaders in our community that very well could be cranking out an episode every once in a while. That's a shout out to the leaders on our team. A challenge to them. But yeah, good stuff. Well, hey, I think we should probably start to wrap this one up. People see something much longer than an hour, and sometimes they hesitate to listen. So maybe just go around the horn. If anyone has any last final comments before we wrap this one up, something that you were hoping to get in on this episode. What's on your mind, team?
Well, I just want to say how grateful I am and how humbled I am by the community and all of the outpouring of kindness and support that I can find here. It's just unmatched in anything else in my life. And I just am really grateful and humbled by it.
I think if anybody has a fan club, it's probably you, Robin Joy.
Number one fan right here.
Starting with the president. Yeah, if anyone's face showed up on a bunch of T-shirts at an event, it would probably be you. You just say everyone just loves Robin Joy, and like you said, you're the first voice and face a lot of people see and experience in real life. Speaking to our Kickstart groups, and thank you for carrying so much weight, introducing those people in the best way to this group. Yeah. What else, guys?
One thing else, real quick, hold on, is a coaching tip. Imitate before you innovate. Go and copy what is being done properly by who is doing it properly before you go out there and, reinvent the wheel. Imitate before you innovate. And then realize one thing about this community is you will get out of it what you put into it. Don't be afraid to serve and help people because it comes back tenfold. So.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'll share something for the newbies because I'm the closest to a newbie in this group, right? Is, the system that, we teach, it really works. And just take my story, it really works. I didn't know anything about e-commerce, and then I just dove into it and it just works. So, don't be afraid to start. Don't be hesitant. You really found the right community. Listen to my first podcast to what I'm saying right now. It's this community is amazing. The coaching group is amazing, and the system works. So, don't be afraid to start because you'll miss out on a lot.
Well said.
I want to add too. I think whenever newer sellers get into this community, there's so much excitement around the Replens model and getting started with arbitrage and getting going. But having a healthy view of the outlook of what you can do from that. Just in my own business, I'm talking to brands that are doing $30K a month on Amazon right now, and they have no idea what they're doing. That's no offense to them. It's just somebody put up a listing and things are happening, and they're getting sales on their products from other sellers, but they need some extra help. Like these big brands, we may view them as a brand that should know everything about everything online, but a lot of times they don't know much about Amazon, and we know a lot more. We can take that foundational knowledge and build it into so much more with proven product partnering methods or wholesale methods or any of these other things. it's not just about the Replens side, although that's where everyone should start. That's where everyone should get their, their footing, their foundation built. You can build a big, great business doing that. I've done it. So many other people on this panel and other places have done it, right? But we still have so much opportunity too outside of that. It's not just, one thing that you're going to be focused on, which for me, that's exciting because I look at opportunity as, okay, what's the long-term outlook? And for that long-term outlook of e-commerce is growing, Walmart is becoming a major player, brands need our help and are seeking it out actively right now. The ability to buy and resell products continues to be there. I mean, it's been the model since I started in 2015. It's been the model on eBay for decades, right? I mean, it's just the biblical model, right, of moving products from one place to another. But the opportunity grows and continues to, and I'm just excited for whatever comes out of this community over the next 10 years. It's going to be great to be on episode 2000, however long that'll be from now. And I'm just pumped to see what that conversation looks like. And I have a feeling it'll be a very similar conversation of, wow, the opportunity is better than it was 10 years ago or whatever. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Love that forecast and that outlook, Jimmy. Man, yes, you're hitting the nail on the head with, I don't think any of us have quite been able to draw a circle around the opportunities that are present here. And I would put a little warning flag out for listeners today, because you don't have to look far to find negative. With anything worth doing in life, you don't have to look far to find negative. Maybe you want to get into better shape. Well, studies have shown that it really doesn't matter if you're overweight. You're probably going to live just as long anyway. Like, okay. Or working on your marriage. Well, studies have shown that most marriages are getting divorced no matter what you do. So, why does it really matter? And you can find those excuses in e-commerce too. You can find those people who are talking it down. What you want to do is surround yourself with the people who are ignoring the excuses and building beautiful businesses, and get in with them and hang out with them and make that your friend group. And that's what we've got by the thousands in our community. So yeah, I think we need to talk about our event too. I want to hear Brian and Robin Joy talk about their workshop before we cut it off for the day. But who else has something else that they want to share before we turn it over to Brian, Robin Joy, and then I'll wrap it up?
Last thing I'll say is just it's incredible, the abundance in this community. I think that's one of the common threads that we have here. We all have that abundant mindset. We recognize if we light somebody else's candle, it's not going to take anything away from ours.
That's
and if we keep them in the group as a whole, then as we've shown, our light just grows that much stronger.
Right.
So
right.
It's, I think that's just got to be one of the, if not the most important element in this culture.
Yeah, I think that's why we were voted the best group for e-commerce sellers, for Amazon sellers in a recent polling. And I think that's it. If you had to identify one key factor, it's the abundance mindset. We welcome newbies in, and we see them as potential future contributors to all of our ongoing success, not as a competitor that we need to dissuade. Right. I love that.
Exactly. So, if you didn't plant the tree 20 years ago, like Jim and Nate and some of us, get it planted now. That's the key. Get into action, get animated. So many people are sitting on the sidelines, and now is the time. The opportunity is never going to get better.
Well said. You sound like a guy who should be in charge of our call center, buddy. Yes, sir.
You know how to create frequency.
Well, Brian and Robin Joy. Okay, well, I've mentioned the Proven Conference coming up the last 3 days of May. If I have to release this episode 1000 a little early, I think people will forgive me, because we want to give them warning about this upcoming workshop as well, where we open up our laptops, and it's limited to a certain number of people, a small room that we've got for this, and we really dig in. So give me your best 30-second, 1 minute. What can people expect if they come to the conference a little early and go to your workshop?
Well, can I just say one thing before we get on that? I just want to say, and I know everybody in the leadership team feels the same way. I keep trying to serve. I keep trying to see what I can do to help. And all I get back is people wanting to know what they can do for me. And this workshop has been the same kind of experience for me. And I'm so grateful. So Brian, tell us about the workshop.
This workshop is awesome. One of the things we really love about it is it does start at fundamental level. And so if you've been trying to catch on, it doesn't click, and people are saying, well, whatever their explanations for why you should be doing something is not quite clicking with you, we break it all down. And we do break open the laptop, as Jim says. We're looking at the fundamentals of listings, of Keepa. And it's basically, like I like to say, if you're going to coaching, the first 4 to 6 sessions, we kind of put into a 2-day time frame there. And so now you're coming out much farther ahead in your coaching program and able to take advantage of much more of that. Not only does it help you when you're doing your sourcing, but then also you get frameworks and systems that you can pass along to your contractors, your virtual assistants, your whatever, that everything is like built right for them to participate in your business. I'm just excited about it. What do you want to add to that?
Oh, I just want to say we help people pull the trigger is what we try to do in this workshop. There are lots of ways to source, lots of ways to figure out how to get products and ASINs and sources to match up. But which ones do you test? What's a good test? How do you test? What does the testing look like? And how do you keep track of that? We go through all of that in this workshop, and people have really gotten a plan for their next 6-9 months to be able to know what's going to happen, what their plan is, how they're going to manage all of this. So we're very, very excited about it.
And huge shout out to Jim, Nathan, Matt for helping us put this on. Jimmy's been a guest at our last one. Looking forward to maybe, I don't know if Khang's going to be there in person, but if he can, that would be awesome. He's certainly going to be a part of it virtually. This leadership team has been a huge support and really enabling so many newer sellers to come in and get started.
So follow up on that, a shameless plug to 3P Mercury. I am going to do a presentation. I have managed to infiltrate Brian and Robin's syllabus, and we're going to teach you how to not only the things that you're going to learn in the workshop, but how to manage those ASINs, those thousands of ASINs that you're going to find systematically, and have a automated fashion in telling you, like, what to buy, when to buy, based off of the criteria that they teach, that you don't have to do manually. You can actually run it through the system and have it do it for you. So I will definitely do a presentation. I'll try to be there in person if I can. If not, we'll do that presentation virtually. But I will be at the conference, to shake your hands and stuff like that. So excited to see you guys.
Awesome. One other thing I would just add too is, it's a great beginner workshop, but every single workshop, and we've done it 4 or 5 times now, we have a handful of advanced sellers that they just want to come for, I think, the networking and the experience and the community. And they're all coming away, wow, I got way more out of this than I ever expected. And I can personally say every single workshop, I learned something new. We don't do it the same way twice, right? Brian and Robin have a great way of teaching and conveying the information and keeping it all relevant to what's actually going on now. So there's just no better opportunity to get that foundation or reinforce that foundation if you already have it.
Yeah, they're truly on the cutting edge. They're in some conversations with me, for example, with Keepa, which is one of the go-to tools for the industry, and we're helping shape Keepa right now. We're shaping Khang's 3P Mercury software right now. We're at the forefront, this team, of creating and recognizing and capturing the opportunities in reselling on Amazon, Walmart. So yeah, spending a few days with them 3 years ago is not the same as spending a few days with them or our team, now, because there's so many doors opening and we're learning new things constantly. So yeah, great point, Matt. Yeah, come if you've been before, come on back. You're going to learn a whole bunch of new stuff. You think you're achieving at a level that is where you want to be. There's a whole nother level to go. Let's challenge and spur each other forward. So yeah, come to the workshop, or if you can't make it to the workshop, come to Orlando, the same resort in Orlando, the last 3 days of May. Be there for that for sure. Don't miss that. And again, if the cost is a factor, we've got a scholarship program. There's probably a link by the time this episode drops to scholarship opportunities. We'd love to have you come completely free, especially if you've never been before. If you have been and things are tight, let us know. We'll do what we can to help you out. We've got some very generous sponsors this year who are making it possible for us to make that happen. So, all right. Great job, guys. And for those who hung out and watched and listened to us live today, that was really cool having you here with us. I'm seeing some cool comments popping in and people giving us congratulations. 1,000 episodes, no small feat. A couple numbers that come to mind. Fewer than 1% of all podcasts, I read a stat recently, ever get over 100 episodes. Fewer than 1%. So here we're at 1,000. We're pretty elite air there. There's no one in e-commerce that I've seen, especially not in the Amazon niche, who has anywhere near as many episodes as we do. So that's a big deal. 6.4 million downloads on iTunes alone, this show. And it's grown our Facebook group to 80,000 people. And that's a completely free resource. And we kick out and eliminate and don't even let in the door the vast majority of the people that try to get into that group, because we ask them questions and we look at their profiles, and it's a no spammers allowed. So that's 80,000 legit business building warriors that you can be a part of that community. So just dropping some numbers as we wrap this episode up. Big celebration though, guys. Thank you so much for getting us this far. And I truly feel, Nate, see if you feel this way. We've said these kind of things all the time. Yeah, 23 years in, you think we'd be talking about how to wind this down. I feel like we're just getting started.
Oh yeah, there's so much. I mean, the systems that I'm building to continue to pioneer using the internet creatively, like I think by the end of this year, we will birth another great opportunity where thousands of people are going to use that concept and idea that we come up with together and with this great team of coaches and leaders to go out and generate revenue and make money. I mean, there's really no shortage of opportunity. There's never a lack of resources. It's always a lack of resourcefulness. And with this team, it's just the resources are abundant. So
I got to agree with you there, man. If you're considering being a part of our community, come on in. The water's just fine. Wade in at your own pace. I had someone come up to me one time at an event. I'll end with this story. We'll wrap it up. They came up to me and he was kind of apologetic and said, Jim, it's an honor to meet you, man. But I just got to say, I feel a little guilty in this moment. I'm like, what's going on, man? I thought he's going to have some big bombshell to drop on me. And he said, well, I've been listening to your podcast for 7 years, but I've never paid a penny for any of your resources. And I've built an amazing business because of what I've learned. And I said, no, time out. That's not, you don't need to apologize for that. That's a beautiful story. I'm going to tell that story hundreds of times, because if our free stuff is that good, why not go ahead and jump in and go further faster? It took you 7 years. Hey, if you want to go further faster, let's go. If you want to take 7 years and soak it up at your own pace, hey, that's cool too. We're here. We're cranking it out. We hold nothing back. But we'll continue to serve, and this team and the others who make this podcast so great. The team behind the scene, there's 5 or 6 people that touch every episode before it gets out the door. We appreciate all of them as well. And just grateful to be in the position we're in. Thanks for being a listener. You're the best part of this show, the listeners to this show. Thank you for spreading the word, sending your friends to silentjimdotcom, tell them about Silent Sales Machine Radio. Keep up the good work. We have a $0 marketing dollar budget for this show, so you are our marketing team. Thank you so much for that. And we'll keep cranking out the great episodes. Team, God bless you. Love you all. I think that's a wrap, Jimmy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this great episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. We have a very quick announcement that you don't want to miss right now.
Does anyone out there ever feel uncertain when choosing an ACE in a test? Like, it's ambiguous and you're not really sure.
Yeah, or like you have to stand on one leg on the second Tuesday of the first week of the month if the moon is in retrograde.
Right. And hold your mouth right. You got to remember to hold your mouth right. Then you might possibly
consider testing that ASIN someday, maybe.
Right. Sometimes Keepa seems overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like it's got so many data points. What if I'm missing something? I'm afraid I'm missing something, so I don't want to pull the trigger. Right?
Yes. Well, we host a 2-day workshop that will demystify the process of building a predictable, scalable, and sustainable book of business on Amazon.
Yeah, it starts with a pre-flight inspection of a listing. So you can answer the question, should I go any further with this ASIN or do I need to move on?
If you get past that, we're going to show you how to apply 3 simple yes or no questions that will help you decide whether to pull the trigger or not. Yeah. Like, is this even a good ASIN to test?
Right. And if you do decide to test it, we'll help you implement a framework for a 4-week testing process. And this process is clear and methodical, and it'll tell you whether you should replenish that ASIN or not.
Now, in these 2 days, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to practice how to apply these critical concepts together. It's intense, it's focused, and it's packed with frameworks, quizzes, and actionable information that really is going to stack the deck in your favor when finding your first 100 replenishable ASINs.
Or your next 100 replenishable ASINs.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. You're going to leave with a roadmap to create your foundational book of business over the next few months.
Our next workshop is May 27th and 28th in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, but seating is limited. It's an intimate setting, but you'll be able to ask all of your questions, plus you'll hear all the questions of the other attendees.
Yeah, this is fun, dynamic, educational. It's a great experience where you will get to meet and work with other people who are doing the same things that you are with similar goals. Mm-hmm. Imagine how you would feel when you get back home after the workshop and you're feeling transformed from unsure to certain, from cautious to confident, from overwhelmed to empowered.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to stand on one leg anymore and hold your mouth right. Just
Right.
making sure, right?
Right,
Okay.
right. So if you would like to feel that way, go to provenamazoncourse.com/100. That's provenamazoncourse.com/100. And we look forward to seeing you there because we're inspired by the accomplishments of others.
We're passionate about helping others reach their goals.
And we're committed to sharing the keys to success that have been shared with us.